Hello and welcome to Thursdays with Culture Talk. It's Cynthia and Theresa again, and we are the co-founders of Culture Talk. We're actually also sisters, in case you couldn't tell. And this is our second week of recording this, and we're excited that you're here again. Yesterday, we had an expert panel presentation on archetypes and integrating them into the diversity and inclusion conversation. A lot of you were able to join us for that, so thanks so much for being there. We really had a really deep and meaningful conversation. I think it generated a lot of interest for people to understand more about what are these things that we're calling archetypes and what can you do with them. So I'd love for Cynthia to just jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what are archetypes? Archetypes are simple human storylines that we all recognize. Stories like the hero or the lover or the revolutionary, words and names you've heard. And they represent our underlying motivations, beliefs, and values. And they're brought to life in the way that we respond to things, in the way we behave, in the way our workplace behaves. Each person and each workplace culture actually shows up uniquely with a unique profile through archetypes. And each archetype, just like each human being, has both strengths that move us forward and something we call shadows that get in our way and hold us back. So understanding archetypes does several things for us. It gives us a shortcut to understanding each other. It gives us a common language and a new way to kind of reframe conflict, to get unstuck, to reimagine possibilities and outcomes. Archetypes are very transformative in culture and in understanding them in leaders and teams.
All right, so when it comes to diversity then, and the conversation that we're having today around inclusion, how can we use archetypes from that perspective? You know, what value can they add in our conversations and the programs and the ideas that we're bringing forward? And I think that primarily at the front line, what archetypes do is allow us to focus on, first, we're all human beings. So we're human first, no matter what race we are, no matter what gender we are, you know, our sexual orientation, our creed, all those boxes that we create that divide us. Archetypes allow us to start by saying, hey, we have something in common. And in fact, we may actually share archetypal patterns with someone who looks and acts very different from us. And that's a huge aha when you're working with this material and you can look across the table at someone who you just perceive their differences and all of a sudden recognize, hey, my motivations, what drives me as a human being are very similar to yours. I might just be experiencing them through, in fact, I am experiencing them through my own story and the way I view the world. And so by breaking down those patterns, we're able to begin understanding, first, what we have in common and what brings us together. And second, hey, I actually do understand your motivations because I recognize these patterns and I've seen them before, and I'm able to use this code to kind of decipher who are you and how can I connect better with you and use them as an opportunity to perceive what value you bring. And how maybe we are coming at it with a different perspective, but I can understand the value that your perspective offers in this situation. So it's really cool, and it's a new way of thinking about it. We have a couple of examples that I think could help to bring the concepts to life for you. So maybe we could talk for a moment about two patterns and kind of compare and contrast them.
Yeah.
So how about the hero, sin, and the sage?
I think that's great. And I think it would be like just put the hero and the sage in a work day environment that we have going on right now called the pandemic.
The pandemic.
Right? And which has impacted everybody at work in one way or another. And let's think about, you know, when we say hero and when we say sage, what motivates each of those archetypal patterns and how, you know, what do they value and how they might respond to the same situation. So let's start with the hero. The hero is an archetype that is wired to win. it's a motivational pattern that looks at challenge as opportunity and actually wants to conquer and prevail. And so it's a very fast moving, fast acting pattern, behavioral pattern when it shows up.
And it can be really inspiring, right? It can be for someone to watch how a hero behaves. You kind of like want to get behind them. They're a great leader and they move quickly. And so you better catch up and stay in pace with them, really.
Yeah, they get stuff done, which is really important as we've been facing this uncertain time, like someone who can get stuff done regardless of the challenges and obstacles.
Exactly. They almost, take it on and push through them. Right. But then you have the sage, and the sage actually moves at a very different pace and uses their, detailed analysis of situations to slow things down and to ask us to actually pause the action and take time to consider the outcomes and to maybe weigh the opportunities and take a little bit of time to make a clearer, more informed decision. And sometimes recognizing that fast action can get us into trouble if we don't consider all the potential consequences. And so they will sort of hold the hero almost down to the ground, hold their feet to the ground, and that can create a little bit of conflict between the two.
Yeah. I mean, as Theresa said, the sage is so deliberate and really thinks through every move they're going to make before they move. And yet, even though you can feel kind of the tension between those two styles, right? And you can probably imagine whether it's yourself or someone on your team who either sounds more like the hero or sounds more like the sage. But the beauty of this system is to recognize, gosh, we need both. We need both that person that can push us forward and help us achieve our goals, and that person who's willing to take the time to study the details, to come up with alternate solutions, and, make sure that we're getting to a place that makes sense at the end of the day. So
that's just one quick take on two archetypes. And in the framework of Culture Talk, there are 12, and we're going to bring some more to you next week. So thanks so much for tuning in.
Yeah. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.